it's me, Chris Colley. I'm in the rubber room. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Rochester Hills, Michigan. And we're starting our summer schedule. Yay! It's June already, and I love this summer. So I take lots of vacations and long weekends and spend uber amounts of time with my family and my siblings. And in fact, my brother's here now, and he's doing some work for us. And Friday morning we're leaving. We're headed to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to see both of my boys and their spouses and our granddaughters and have a nice long weekend with them. And so anyways, because I do all of that during the summer, my work hours are shortened and they're a little bit different. So in June we started our new schedule, which is our free weekly class on Facebook Live. And so it's going to start at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays, every Wednesday through this summer. And if there's a date I can't make it, it is indicated in my schedule. I do have my new June schedule up and posted, so if you're looking for classes, I have lots of them in person, and you can order them to go if you need to. I'm just going to take a minute, make sure I'm in the right spot, and okay, I am in the right spot. Yippee! I like it when that happens. I have been stamping this week a lot. I went last night to my uplines meeting in Lansing, and then today one of my downline came here and she did her first live on Facebook together with us. And then I went to some of my friends' house and we stamped. So these are the cards that we made, and this actually was a card that Jackie, one of my downline, did for us. She actually did an entire class just for our team, and it was using the masks to make these great flowers. But a couple of us got together and put ours together. Let's see if I can get it in the middle for you a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, I think this might be about where we need to be. So we used the masks, and she taught us all how to do it, and we made these gorgeous cards. Look at this card. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. And then it opens this way and has that little happy birthday to you. Just gorgeous. There are actually 4 cards in the class. I haven't finished one of them yet, and one of them I left at the my girlfriend's house so she could work on hers and use mine as an example. These gorgeous butterflies and flowers came, they were masks, and absolutely beautiful. And then this card opens like this. I love that little rainbow of flowers there. I think that's so pretty. And you can stick a little check or money or something in that little pocket there. Super fun. So I just wanted to share those with you because they were amazing. And now I'm in love with the stencils and the masking. And so, but today we are going to be using the Sending Smiles stamp set, and I love this stamp set. This is my favorite stamp set from the new catalog. I'm not sure why we are so crooked here. Let me see if I can straighten out my phone, maybe straighten out my stand. I don't know what's happening, but let's try this and see if that's better. Okay, we want to go down. All right, you guys will appreciate this because when I start stamping, you want me to be right there in the middle. So this is by far one of my favorites. It has these great sentiments that are really skinny, and I love this font with the calligraphy. And look at all the flowers. I think the flowers are so pretty. I love summer flowers. But it has these really unique dies. So this makes an outline of the word sending, and then this, it can just kind of snuggle right on top or inside this one. So it kind of will layer up like that. Let me see if I can turn it so you get the gist of it. So you have kind of a wide outline part and then the inside part. And then these little ones are for the sentiments. And then you can see these are for the flowers and leaves and the little stem. This one kind of looks like a a wisteria here. So lots of different ones in this stamp set. So very, very versatile. And I combined it. This is it. These are actually 3 of the 4 cards I made for my club this month. And one, I combined it with the, what is this paper called? Let's see. It's the Awash in Beauty Designer Series paper. It's absolutely gorgeous. But one of the pieces, it's a 12 by 12 pack of paper, and one of the pieces looks like this. Okay, so rather than cut it in half, I cut a 5.5 inch piece and a 6.5 inch piece. And I'll show you why I did that, because I wanted to make a card where I could stamp a sentiment up here. This is a super, super simple card with your sentiment at the top and nothing but designer series paper. Absolutely gorgeous. And it's a run out the door card, which means I can remember 5 minutes before I have to leave and come down and make this card and then run out the door. So I didn't want to waste all of the other piece of paper. So I cut it at 5.5, which means you can still use this side of the paper, but you're not going to be able to put words up here. So last night when we were at our team meeting, I got the perfect swap. Tammy Ackerson did this card for her swap card. And you can see she comes right up to the top here with that. So you're going to get a lot of cards out of just this one sheet of paper. They're all really simple because your paper does your work. This gorgeous cardstock does all the work for you. So all you need to do really is add a sentiment. There's no gems on here. There's no ribbon on here. It's just this gorgeous piece of designer series paper with your sentiment. So super, super easy to use. And it's like a real wow with it. Okay, so one of the cards I did for my club that I'm not going to do here, I don't know where I put it now, but I'll share it with you when I find it, and I'm sure I will find it. So let's start off with this card here. And if you guys like these cards, you can place a minimum $35 order on my website. I'll give you the code in the link, and I will send you all of the pieces to make these. There's no stamped images. You do have to provide your own stamps, but you will have all of the other pieces to make these cards. Okay, so for this one, we have a piece of extra thick basic white cardstock, and it's cut at 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored the 11-inch side at 5.5. And then we're just gonna burnish on our score line. Okay, and the gals in the club also got a bolt of the white crinkle ribbon and a package of the solid faceted gems. These are so cool, so pretty. Okay, so let's get started here. I have this 5.5 inch piece by 1 inch. So it's 5.5 inches by 1 inch. And I'm just gonna put some snail adhesive on that. And this is gonna be on the inside of my card. So it's gonna give my card a little pop when you open it up. Oh, for some reason, my computer is frozen. And so I can't tell if I'm in the screen or not. So bear with me just 1 minute. I'm gonna pop down and see what might be happening here. I'm hoping that your screen is not frozen and you can continue to see me. Well, I'm just gonna guess that you can still see me, and I'm somewhat in the middle there. So that's gonna be the inside piece of our card. And then for the outside, I'm gonna bring in this 4 1/4 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, okay? And I stamped my sample in the Balmy Blue, but I think I'm gonna use some Mossy Meadow for this. So I'm gonna take this really big sending, and this big sending is the same size as the die. So you can stamp this and cut it out with the die if you want to. We're not gonna do that this time. We're just gonna stamp it. Gonna get it inked up really good. And then I'm going to put it right in the middle. And a little tip that works for me when I want to get it straight is if I keep my paper straight with my grid paper, then I'm going to be straight there with my words. And my words are kind of going at an angle, and that's okay because I think that's kind of fun for this card. And then I'm going to take a sentiment. So this one's going to say sunshine to brighten your day. So it's going to say sending sunshine to brighten your day. I'm just going to ink that up. I'm using a little ink spot for this. And I'm going to put that right underneath there. There we go. So, super fun, super easy, right, you guys? I don't think that could be any easier. Then I'm going to bring in some white crinkle ribbon. And I'm going to, I think I'm coming off the bottom of the screen there. So let's see if this helps. I can't see it on my computer, so let me see if I refresh it for a minute. And see if that helps. So let me just try and see if I can pull this up here and see where I am. Sometimes I can stamp completely off the screen. Oh, I'm doing pretty good here. Okay. I didn't need to be worried about that at all, did I? So I'm just going to take my ribbon and tie it around, and I think I may put it right in the middle. So I love this white crinkle ribbon because I can make it any color I want. We're going to use our blends. In fact, on the sample that we did for the card club, we did color it Balmy Blue, so it matched the greeting. So for this one, I'm just going to leave it white and tie a little bow. And by leaving it on my spool, the hope is that I'll waste a little less ribbon when I go to cut it. Where are we going here, little bunny ear? There we go. I'm going to pull it tight and then just hold my finger right over where my knot is and kind of pull my ears. I guess they're not ears, they're loops. Pull my loops so that the bow is a little more dimensional to where the size of my designer series paper there. There we go. And I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm actually, I tied it a little loose here, and I don't really like that. So I'm gonna take it around the back, and I'm gonna just use my paper snips and cut it in half. And I'm just gonna take some snail and then pull it tight so I can get it really tight. And it won't be slipping. And then I'm going to make them a little bit even. One of them's like an inch down lower than the other one. That's not a good idea. There, that one looks like it's going to be a little more even, right? Okay. And then I am going to take a little glue. I guess I don't really need a glue dot in there. I'm going to put just some snail adhesive on the back of this. I'm going to trim these off. we don't get lumps back there with all that pretty, pretty paper. So I'm just gonna put my snail adhesive around the edges of my DSP. And your DSP is lighter than your cardstock. So when you're doing a card with just your DSP, you wanna be sure that you're using either a thick white card base or a thick vanilla card base, because you really need that support for your designer series paper. I'm just gonna line it up at the top. And press it down. I'm just gonna fuss with my bow a little bit more, because I can make myself crazy with things like that, right? Okay, bow. There we go. I can live with that. And then I'm gonna take some gems. And I think I'm going to add these pretty blue ones. There's a lot of blue in here, and they have two. You have like your balmy blue, and then maybe a pool party. I don't know what the other one is, but they're both really pretty. So I'm gonna use the lighter one, I think, and just kind of sprinkle these around because they match those flowers. So I think I'll add 3. Odd numbers are more pleasing to the eye, so we'll do 3 like that. So that's your first card. Super easy, right? It took me like all of about 5 minutes to do that, because again, the paper does all the work. And again, here's Tammy's swap card from last night. So you have 2 really good ideas what to do with that designer series paper, and just a little bit of a punch up. So okay, and moving on, this is our second card. Driving myself a little crazy with where did I put all those other cards? Okay, so this is our second card. We're gonna start off with a piece of Blushing Bride cardstock. We'll get all of our goodies out of our envelope. We got lots of goodies in here. Okay, we'll get our envelope out of the way, and then we'll move our sample out of the way. So we have a nice clean workspace here. And our card base, again, is gonna be 4 1/4 by 11, and we scored the 11-inch side at 5 1/2, which is the middle. So I'm just gonna bring in my bone folder and burnish that top edge. Then I have this little piece here, which I think is 4 by 1 inch. And that's gonna go on the inside of our card. So I'm just gonna put some snail right on there. I love this piece too, that blue. So that's gonna go on the inside bottom of our card. This is a great way to not only use up your DSP, but to kind of pull the outside of your card in towards the inside, and it adds a nice little pop of color in there too. Okay, so this is our white piece of paper, and it's just basic white cardstock. I'm gonna start off with that piece, and I'm gonna bring in my big sending again, and my little ink spot. I'm gonna ink it all up. And I'm gonna stamp it about 1/4 to 1/2 inch up from the bottom, because I'm gonna put my sentiment down there at the bottom. Okay? And then I'm gonna put a really pretty flower in here. That one is really crooked, and I don't want it crooked for this card, because I want to put my flower above it, and I want my sentiment to be going straight, and that might kind of make it a little off base. With all the flowers and the busyness of the designer series paper, we could get away with that, but I want to get it straight on this one. So let's see if that will do it. Oh, much better. Okay. So then I'm going to take my stem, And I want my stem to be a little bit lighter. I don't want it as dark as that Mossy Meadow. So I'm gonna do a second generation, or what you call stamp off. So when you stamp with your stamp, that is your first generation. And then I'm gonna do a second generation, and I've stamped off onto my scrap paper. So I'm gonna go like that. And it gives it a much lighter image, and it's okay to stamp right over top of my words because it is a lighter image. Then let's grab my flower, and I'm gonna do some Blushing Bride with my flower. My brother is here, he's redoing our deck, and he said to me today, he said, what are all these pots for? And I said, those are for my flowers. And he said, are you getting flowers? I said, as soon as you fix my deck, I'm gonna get flowers. So he was a little concerned I had all these pots out there and no flowers in them, so. Okay, and what brought this to thought is that this Blushing Bride ink pad is just so pretty. I just love this color, so that I will be getting some flowers on my deck in that color when it's all finished. Okay, so I'm gonna go crumb cake in the middle of my flower. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did with my stem. I'm gonna do second generation. So I'm gonna stamp off, and then I'm gonna stamp it in the middle of my flower. And that's gonna give me that nice light image there. And you're gonna go with that. There we go. Okay, and then, oh, I'm gonna get my Blushing Bride back out because I have this piece of paper that's cut, and I'm gonna put my sentiment on it. So again, I'm gonna line it up so it's really straight with my grid paper. And I'm gonna do Sending Smiles Across the Miles. Ooh, that one's a little small. So I think I'll go back and use this really long one, Sunshine to Brighten Your Day. So let's clean this off. Yep, that's how I'm gonna clean it while I'm doing this video. That way I don't have to go find my stamp cleaner. And so far I've remembered everything for this one. So I'm just going to stamp it in my Blushing Bride, on my Blushing Bride ink onto my Blushing Bride cardstock. Okay, there we go. Wow, that didn't pop very much, did it? I'm gonna go back and do it in my Mossy Meadow. And there's nothing wrong with it. If you like that look, and that look might be really pretty with your flower. In fact, I'm gonna stick with it. I kind of like the contrast in this Mossy Meadow on that pink, if you can see it good there. But I'm gonna go with the pink on the pink. That's perfectly okay. So I'm gonna take my ribbon here, and I'm actually gonna run it over my snips so it softens it a little bit. So I'm just gonna put it on the top of my snips and put my thumb on it and just gently pull it through. And any ribbon that you're having a time tying, you can do that, and it will just make it a little bit softer, kind of break down the fibers a little bit. So I'm just gonna tie it in a little bow. And again, just hold your little knot in the middle and pull your loops. I want a kind of small bow because I'm gonna put it right at the top of my flower. So I'm gonna open that up a little bit. And there we go. Bring in my little snips. And I think I'm even gonna go smaller. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside while I kind of assemble this. So I have two small pieces. They are, I think, a 1/2 inch. Yep, so they are 4 inches by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom. So I'm just going to use my snail at the top edge and the bottom edge. And then you can have as much of this Mossy Meadow showing as you want. You can do just a little tiny line, or you can do a little bit bigger. That's about 1/4 inch. On this one, I just did about 1/8 inch, a really tiny little bit on here. So I'm gonna do a little bit more on this one. You just kind of wanna make sure you have the same amount at the top and the bottom. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna set that aside, and then I'm gonna bring in my Designer Series paper. And these two pieces are 4 by 1.5 inches. And they kind of go together like that. So I'm gonna put some snail on the backs of those. And this is just a good kind of, I don't know if you wanna even call it a hack, but this will save you a ton of Designer Series paper. Let me make sure my card's opening in the right direction, and it is. So I'm just gonna put this one at the bottom and one up here at the top. So this will save you Designer Series paper, and cutting your pieces like this will save you cardstock. Now you can of course cut a whole piece of cardstock to go behind here, but I just really like my cardstock. So I like to save it as much as I can. And you're just putting it behind there is just kind of wasteful because you're not gonna see it at all. And you can do the same thing. You could take a piece of Designer Series paper that is 4 by 5 1/4 and put a whole piece of Designer Series paper and then just layer this piece on top of it. But I'm not gonna waste my Designer Series paper like that. When you make your card, it's your choice, and if you don't use a lot of Designer Series paper, then that's a great way to get rid of it. If you couldn't stand paper piecing it, that's a great way to do it. Okay, there we go, and I'm just gonna take a little glue dot and put that on my bow. I'm gonna put my bow up here on my flower. Okay, how cute is that? And then I'm gonna bring in some dimensionals, and my little mini dimensionals are still in my play bag that I took to my friends. So I'm gonna cut these dimensionals, and they make mini dimensionals so you don't have to cut like this, but rather than have you wait while I go scout mine down, I'm just gonna do this because it works. So I'm just putting these little dimensionals behind my sentiment piece. And you also, if you remember the dies that I shared with you at the beginning, there you can use a die to cut this out with. But I did not. So I'm just gonna kind of center this in my white space. Let me see if I can make this straight so you guys can see what's going on. I want about the same amount on the edges. So I'm gonna move it this way just a tad. And there. Okay, now I'm gonna grab my other cards so you can see the one that, the actual 4th one for our class. And it is a Bridgebolt card. And this isn't the next one we're gonna do, but I'm gonna share it with you. And then I'm gonna look and see if anybody has any questions. So if you have some questions, pop them in there right now, and I'll come back and look it up after I share this. This is a Bridgebolt card. So this is the 4th card that we did. During club, we do 4 cards, and you make 2 of each of the 4 designs. So you get 8 cards. It's a subscription club, so you're charged every month either $30 if you do a porch pickup or a door drop, and $39 if you need mailing. So you get half a pack of designer series paper, card kits for 8 cards, a bolt of ribbon, and a pack of accessories. And then you get the tutorials for all the 4 cards, and we meet on Zoom to put them together. So it's a nice stamping time with our friends too. So this is the 4th one, and it's a bridge fold card, and it kind of stands alone. But the really cool thing is you can bend it like this, and it is the same size as a regular card. So you can mail it in a regular size envelope. But it's just kind of a fun, different fold that kind of stands up like that. Okay. Oh, and we forgot our gems on this one. So let's pop a few gems on there. I'm going to do these pink ones, these pretty pink ones. And I think we'll just kind of go here. And these gems come in 2 different sizes too. I'm going to do one in there and one down there. There we go. So you can do a small one or a big one. And they're already sticky on the back, which is fun. Okay, let me pop down here real quick to see if anybody, hey Michelle, I'm so glad that you're here. I can't wait to see you on Tuesday for our meeting. I know this paper is like an addiction, isn't it? It is so gorgeous. It's one of those that you have to kind of make yourself use. Hi Kay, thanks for stopping in. Okay, I think everybody's good with questions. So I'm gonna keep going. We have one more card to do. And that is this one, which I think is so cute. If you can see, the background on here is actually a piece of designer series paper, which is really, really pretty. And we're going to use the dies for this one. So this is going to be a fun one too. I'm actually going to start off with taking my Mossy Meadow. Wow. That one just kind of got stuck in my hand there. I'm going to take my Mossy Meadow blend, and I actually have the dark Mossy Meadow blend, and I'm just going to lay out a piece of my ribbon, and I'm going to color it with my Mossy Meadow blend. And I'm going to try and do just enough for one bow. I'm not really good at guessing how much I need for a bow. I know there's a method for it that I learned, but I can't remember it. Like most of the things I've learned, it comes and goes. Sometimes I grasp it and can hold on to it. Sometimes I grasp it and let it go. And sometimes it comes back after I let it go. So when you do this, though, you want to keep your blend at an angle like this. When you keep it at an angle, you're going to keep your tip nice and pointy and firm. And our blends have that brush tip and that kind of fine point tip. Or nub, some people call it. So that one's really good for coloring too, if you love to color. And while I'm at it, I am going to color. I'm going to take 3 of these light ones here, and I'm going to color them with my dark blend. And that'll give them just kind of a really light green tint. And I like to color anything I can. It doesn't have to be just image. So you can see that they're just kind of a really light, mellow moss, almost like a stamped off image would be. So those are going to be really pretty to use on our card. So I'm going to cut my ribbon, and I'm just going to set it aside for a few minutes. That will ensure that when I go to use it, I won't be able to find it, because that's kind of the way I function sometimes. Okay, so here's all the goodies. And when you get your kit, it will look like this. All of your goodies will be inside. And I don't know if you caught that, but check this out. I like to, when you're putting this through the Big Shot or your Stamp and Emboss machine, sometimes your little dot for your eye pops out. but I wanted to make sure that everybody got that little dot for their eye. So here it is. I just kind of stuck it in your envelope so you'll have it to use. Okay. And all of your kits do come with designer series or envelopes too. So this piece of paper is 8.5 by 5.5, and you're scoring the 8.5 inch side at 4 1/4. And then we're just gonna fold it and burnish it, okay? And then this is a piece that I cut. It's just a basic white piece that I cut with the die. And I'm gonna stamp my sentiment on that. And this one is gonna be comfort and strength. So actually this one is gonna be love and big hugs. So that's gonna fit right inside there. And I'm gonna push it down towards this end so I can put my bow on this end. Okay? So that one says love and big hugs. And we'll move that out of the way. And then we're gonna get our sending ready to go. So this is a die cut. That's the outline die cut that I was telling you about. And then this is the inside. And the inside I have done on some adhesive paper. So it is sticky on the back when you pull it off the adhesive paper. So I'm just gonna start it here. And you can start at the beginning of the word, the end of the word. One of the gals in club says she starts in the middle. So whatever is comfortable for you, that's the thing. Stamping is supposed to be relaxing and comfortable. So if you can find a way to do something that's easier or more comfortable than what I'm doing, be sure to make it your own so that it is more relaxing for you and so that you enjoy it more. So, and I can't tell you how many times I'm stamping with my friends and they do something and I go, oh, that's so much easier than the way I was doing it. And I say was doing it because from that moment on, that's the way I will be doing it. So I'm going to just set this. If you can see, there's like a little ridge in that die. Well, if you could see if I would hold it on the in the camera, right? There we go. So there's like a little tiny ridge there. And I'm going to put the inside die right on top of it. And it has adhesive, but it's a very forgiving adhesive, so you can move it around a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move it until it's just in the middle. Let me see if I can, I'm going down or up or where. I think this is going to be a good spot, so let's see. Up, maybe. Everything is reversed, so it's going in the right direction, but I have to reverse my thinking then. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of line it up and lay it down. And as I lay it down, I'm pressing it in with my thumb. So I'm laying my end down and just gonna go pressing it in with my thumb. And then my D is gonna come on top. Let me see if I can move my fingers out of the way. There we go. So we're catching up to it. So you can see I'm just going to put them right where they're going to be in the middle of my outline. And then I'm going to go back and press them down. That little G does not want to give it to me, does it? There we go. Okay, and I am good with leaving that eye open and not putting anything in there. But if you're not, that's perfectly fine. What I would suggest that you do is take your little dot, and I'm gonna use the pointy tip of my take your pick tool and pop the back of that off. And it is a little tricky to do. You could also add a dot with your pencil, your white watercolor pencil, or a white chalk marker would do it. But I've got the back off, and so now I'm just going to set the center of my eye on there. What on earth is happening there? Okay, there we go. So there is the dot for my eye in the sending. Okay, so we're gonna bring in, I'm gonna turn my card base, make sure it's going in the right direction. I'm going to bring in, isn't this gorgeous too? I'm telling you, this pack of paper is just a must-have. It is so beautiful. It's one of those where you're like, okay, which side of the paper should I use? If you can even bring yourself to use it. So that's one good thing about teaching classes and doing live classes is I have forced myself to use it that way. So this one is just really a beautiful piece of paper. It looks kind of like a really fine carpet. It just looks warm and cozy. So I'm gonna put that on, and then I'm going to take the green piece and put some Stampin' Seal on it. This would be really pretty with this piece too. These two pieces together, but I'm doing it this way, okay? So I'm gonna put this on, kind of like that. And then I'm gonna also angle this one. Whoops, I got my adhesive paper backing in there. Okay, it's been kind of a week here. Yesterday, no, not yesterday, Tuesday, Monday, I can't even remember which day. We had birds in our house, so there were birds downstairs in the rubber room with me flying around. It was quite entertaining as I tried to catch it. So this one I'm gonna kind of do in the opposite direction. There we go. And then I'm gonna take my Love and Big Hugs and some of these little dimensionals that I cut. These are like dimensionals that are now custom made to fit this die, right? It's perfect. All right. So we'll take those backs off. And I'm gonna put this one right here. Try and get it straight. Sometimes upside down is hard to do straight. Sometimes upside down is just plain hard to do. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my sending and I'm gonna pop it up too. So I'm gonna put some of these dimensionals that have not yet been customized into some spots where they'll fit. And then I'm gonna take these smaller ones again and use them for some of the smaller spots. I don't think this one's gonna fit in that S. So I think I'll give it one more cut. We're really customizing this one. And we'll do one in here and one here. I actually think I'm gonna take that one out and put it in my top of my D. Okay, so then we're just gonna pop these backs off and put this one on. I love these dies that cut out words. They make the words kind of come to life more so than a stamp. And then I'm gonna put this one intentionally crooked, okay? And I'm gonna come back and get my Mossy Meadow piece of ribbon. I'm gonna soften it up. And tie my bow. And again, I want a fairly small bow because I want to put it right here. So let's see how small I can make it. I did color a big piece of ribbon. I told you I'm not really good at knowing how much ribbon I need for the size of bow I want. And I think sometimes it's really important that your bow not be like overpowering your words or whatever image you're putting it on. You don't want a bow that just kind of takes over, so that's the only thing you notice is a bow. It shouldn't be your focal point. It should just kind of add a little dimension. I still need to make it just a hair smaller. Okay. And then we're gonna trim these guys up. There we go. And a glue dot. Put a glue dot in the back. And you can use your green glue for this if you want to. You could actually put it up on a dimensional if you wanted to, but I'm just gonna do this. There. And I want this little tail to be a little bit shorter. There we go. And then I'm gonna bring in these really fun green dots that we just made. Maybe we customized our bows and our ribbon and our dimensional. We're really making this card our own, customizing it to just match what we want. And I think these are really pretty on here. Let's go up in the corner. There we go. So there we go. And actually on the one that I did for class, we used the Blushing Bride little gems for that one. So we'll bring it up here so you can see it. And we used Comfort and Strength there, and Love and Big Hugs on this one. And I'm actually gonna go in, I have this little piece of paper here that is 4 inches by 1 1/4 inches. Got stuff sticking everywhere. So I'm just gonna put some snail on that. And again, this is gonna help to draw the outside of our card in and to give it a little more oomph there, little something, something. And I would, before I send this, I think I would do a piece of white cardstock in here to write my image on, just because that Mossy Meadow is a little bit dark. Okay, so here's our 3 cards. 1, 2, and 3. And then of course this is our bonus that Tammy Ackerson made and shared with us. And then here is our bridge fold card. How fun, you guys. Do you love this stamp set as much as I do? I know, I think I did another class for you guys with that stamp set too. So thanks for stopping in, you guys. Right now we're doing our Kids BOGO half off sale. We have our last chance sale going on, and our new catalog is coming out in July. And with that catalog, there is going to be a celebration catalog. So it's a great time to be a part of Stampin' Up. I just today put my pre-order in and got all of my goodies for our fall, our festive fall fun day, which is coming up in July. So lots of fun things are coming, and I hope you guys will stay tuned. And remember, if you want cards to make these, or kits to make these cards, you just need to place a minimum $35 order on my website. And when you do that, I will also send you 15 tutorials. So you'll get like an extra bonus there. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.